Good morning. We've been making steady progress on the watershed, and the next job is the floor. Once that's down, we can move on to insulating the internal walls. We also have plans to take on a few other little tasks over the next couple of days, but let's just see where we get. We've done it. We have built the floor and clad it in OSB in a day. Not even a full day. So we used 3x2 on the bottom, and then we used 18mm OSB as the floor with 300 centers underneath. And unfortunately, even though it's a great amount of space and it looks amazing, we have to put all that rubbish stuff in it and all this. So it's going to be filled again in a minute, but at least it's a floor and not just a kind of delicate DPM. So yeah, it's looking good. Good morning. So today is a really nice day, so we are more than happy to get out and get some stuff done. So we're gonna get some airflow sorted for the watershed. We're going to put one of the vents down here, so that will be the intake, and then we're going to put the exhaust one, switch you around and point badly about, no, over there. So then the air can come in from one side at the bottom of the shed, and then diagonally is where it will circulate and go up through the other side. For the moment, we're just going to have it passive. I'm holding this terribly. We're just going to have it passive, but we are thinking about having some sort of low-powered fan if we find that the humidity does get too high in here, and then we can more actively push it through the shed. But for now, we're thinking passive will be fine. So we're going to sort that. So we're going to peel back this side of the box cladding, and we should be able to see the hole that we do from the inside. That's for the center of this. We're then gonna, with this peeled away, we're going to outline this in the center of that hole, and then we know where to cut with our new multi-tool that we haven't had a chance to use yet. First problem encountered is we can't find the little bit to take the screws off. So we're now digging in every pile of tools that we've not put away properly to try to find it. Right, so on to the next step. Dan is going to measure and cut. Noggins to go down there. One's going to go above and one below the air vent, and that's to separate the insulation from where we're kind of creating like a little airflow tunnel. And I'm going to start on the far side and start doing some insulation. I normally would wear a mask, but I have looked everywhere for it. I can't find it. So on this one occasion, I'm not going to be wearing a mask, and I know I should, so I'm aware. Okay, let's get started. Right, and as per everything, when we go to start a job, you have to move everything else out of the way first. So before I can actually start the job, I'm going to clean up, which anyone who knows me knows I hate. So, right, let's sort some stuff. Good morning. So today and tomorrow, probably a hodgepodge mix of things. So we're going to try to get on with various things depending on what the weather is like. Currently it's nice, so Dan's going to get out and start drilling the hole for the electrical conduit to come into the shed. And I'm gonna, now I have my masks, so I won't get towed off. I'm going to carry on with the insulation around the inside of the shed. So yeah, just sorry that it's a mash of things, but yeah, that's what this weekend is. I haven't pointed out, but you might notice that there's some boxes here, and you might be able to see the picture of the shed. Yes, we bought a pre-made shed. Well, it's not made, we had to assemble it. But it's just a really basic metal shed because we really need to get our tools and stuff out of the space it's in now, which is in the barn, because it's just going to get wet with rain, weather, animals, birds like to land on all the tools. We just don't have time right now to prioritize building a third shed. So we bought a little temporary shed. Eventually maybe we'll turn it into a potting shed or something and build a proper tool shed, but for now it's regretfully just a cheap little metal shed that won't be nearly as nice as our other sheds, right babe?
Right.
Right. So we're putting some access points in the shed. There's one here, but we've already made use of it because there's quite a few services that need to come in and out still, and we're not exactly sure where they're going to come in and out. We don't have the materials for them. So we're going to put one over there and one over here, one more here, and then a little one there. So we think that's going to eventually, just this in between, we think that's eventually going to be our washing machine drainage out and a freshwater tap on the outside. That is just a backup in case for some reason we realize we can't put it on the right hand side, and it's better out the metal side for some reason. And then that's just going to be two different options for when the borehole company come back, in case all the equipment is better put on one side or the other. But that's all the insulation in. So I'm very happy with that. So we've been working with some architects and they made us this great design. It retained the existing footprint. So just to be clear, we have existing planning permission for the barn, which is one of the reasons we even bought this barn. But the internal layout isn't very practical. So it needed to be redone. Because we want to move some external side windows, we needed to apply for a change to the planning. And so while doing that, we hired architects to do that, and they've made some additional updates. They wanted to put in some extra skylights and things. We've been very excited to work with them, but we have discovered after having 2 applications fail and going through a lot of time and money and definitely a lot of stress, that unfortunately we just didn't give enough credit to this type of barn in this location needing a local architect. And it seems obvious once you've done it. You know, they had enough confidence and they had enough experience that it was going to be fine, but it hasn't been. And we've run across enough things that they've made mistakes on and potentially risked some things that we might not have been able to come back from, that we've decided we have to go with different architects going forwards, which unfortunately, because architects don't seem to be willing to take on someone else's design, which fine, fair enough, because Dan and I used to code, and taking on someone's old code is a mess. But that means that we're having to start over cost-wise. We have already sunk, I'll be honest, about £10,000 to £12,000 into the architects to the stage that we've got to now. So knowing that that's just going to get wiped and we won't really have much that we can bring forwards and we have to start over has been a hard pill to swallow. You can imagine we've had some difficult conversations on how to proceed, what we want to do, how to do it. So I've spoken to some architects and we have two very promising ones in mind. They're very local. They're within 20 to 40 minutes of us, I believe. And so now we're just trying to make the decision on which one to go with. And we're obviously very hesitant to get burned again. So it's been a very hard decision. And I'm hoping that by sharing this, that I'll look back at this video in a few months' time and I'll be like, oh, remember when that was super incredibly stressful, but now it's not because everything is perfect. That's what I'm hoping for by sharing this now, that it seems stressful now, and it is stressful, but that hopefully it gets, sorted and we can move forward properly, respecting the area, which we obviously want to do, and also being aware of the local, I won't say restrictions, but the local requirements to actually get planning and then building control approval through this process as easily as possible. So there we are. There's my rant on the current behind the scenes stress that we're currently having to deal with. And yeah, I'll stop and get back to showing you hopefully some progress. Alright, so I just realized we weren't filming, but we only just finished the access point areas for those. So when they're in use, we'll take out that insulation and drill the holes that we need. But otherwise, they're going to be ready for access points if needed in the future. That's the exhaust vent up there, so that's ready to go with when we put the OSB wall on. We'll put the inside vent on that portion there. And now this green stuff is vapor barrier membrane. So I'm taking that and I'm going to staple it all along the wall. And then that will be one of the last steps before we can get the OSB up. But yeah, it's looking good. You happy with your shed?
Yeah, it's looking really good.
So that's the insulated shed sealed up with breather membrane. One of the next steps will be the OSB going on for the walls, and that's when it'll really start looking like a finished shed. If you want to follow along as it takes shape, subscribe now, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, just wanted to point out, this stuff is rubbish. It's called Hardboard. It is not hard. It is super floppy stuff. It's pretty much somewhat upgraded cardboard. We bought it because we just wanted something cheap to put on the inside of the power shed, but this is like embarrassing, terrible, frustrating cheap. But we paid for it now, and so we're going to use it until at some point in the future we decide it's worth paying to get different stuff put up. Unless when we put this stupid stuff up, it's terrible on the walls and doesn't go on straight, and then we're just going to have to rip it down and buy new stuff anyways. Don't buy hardboard. Or can someone tell me why you would buy this stuff and what you actually use it for? Like what it's good for? Because it doesn't seem like it's going to be very good for shed walls. But yeah, there's actually a good reason for using it. If you can tell me, I'm curious. And do you want some?